lawsuits from the Justice Department alleging the state is giving in-state college tuition benefits to illegal immigrants. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi said California is illegally discriminating against American students and families by offering exclusive tuition benefits for non-citizens. According to the lawsuit, California is violating federal law by providing country.
Another witness says that many of the large ICE protests around the country are being organized by well-funded activist groups. She spoke specifically about the June demonstrations in Los Angeles.
These certainly were not spontaneous riots. They were well coordinated. What we uncovered was an orchestrated operation, and those at the forefront of the anti-ICE resistance have received ample funding. Chief among them is the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights of Los Angeles.
Jason Blair, NTD News.
A billionaire activist has thrown his hat into the ring in the race for California's next governor. He joins a list of prominent Democratic candidates to replace Governor Gavin Newsom. NTD's David Lamb has won the candidate who once ran president.
California will have a gubernatorial election next year, and a billionaire has entered the race. Philanthropist and businessman Tom Steyer made the announcement on Wednesday.
I'm Tom Steyer. I wanted to build a business here. Now it's worth billions of dollars. And I walked away from it because I wanted to give back to California.
In 1986, Steyer founded Farallon Capital Management, a hedge fund in San Francisco. He ran for president in 2019. The Democratic climate activist joins the California race to replace Gavin Newsom as his term ends next year. The 68-year-old says he promises to make companies pay their fair share and use that money to fund public schools, build homes that families can afford, and lower electric bills by 25% by ending utility monopolies. He also wants to ban corporate political action committee money from state elections. According to Steyer's campaign, he took on the tobacco industry to raise the cigarette tax.
I'm saying we have a broken government. It's been bought by corporations. And my question is, who do you think is going to change that? Sacramento politicians are afraid to change up this system. I'm not. They're going to hate this.
He also led a campaign to impeach President Trump during his first term. Prominent Democratic candidates in California's race include Congresswoman Katie Porter, Javier Becerra, and former Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa. Republican candidates include Chad Bianco and former Fox News host Steve Hilton. California voters will vote for a new governor in November 2026. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
Coming up, Ukrainian officials say dozens of
rejoin their ranks. The department is offering double pay for eligible personnel. The CBP says in a statement, through a dual compensation waiver, eligible retirees can receive their full annuity plus full salary, no reductions, no offsets. It's not just about filling positions, it's about bringing back experience, leadership, and legacy. The positions are full-time term appointments. Most will last from 1 to 4 years with possible extensions, according to the statement. CBP says interested applicants need to have been retired for at least 1 year. Jason Blair, NTD News.
The Department of
Justice on Tuesday announced it will begin an investigation into local security at UC Berkeley. This comes after a Frontlines TPUSA video posted on X showed violent protests at a Turning Point USA event on Monday. Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon responded to the post of Nick Sorter, an independent reporter who said, quote, Antifa has turned Turning Point's event at UC Berkeley in California into an absolute war zone. The event was Turning Point USA's first event in California since Charlie Kirk, the group's founder,
targeted child predators, rapists, and violent criminal illegal immigrants with convictions including sexual assault of minors, rape, child exploitation, and attempted homicide. In total, more than 230 criminal illegal immigrants were arrested. And the State Department designated 4 left-wing groups based in Europe as foreign terrorist organizations. It says the groups use force against those they identify as opponents of their Marxist and anarchist projects. Daniel Monahan, NTD News.
Thank you, Daniel. And after a series of public disagreements between Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene and President Trump, the leader of the Republican Party has announced he'll no longer endorse the Georgia representative. In a
a Truth post Friday night, Trump accused Green of going far left. Trump said he felt that all Green did was complain about his policies despite his administration's work on border security, tax cuts, protecting women athletes, rebuilding the U.S. military, and other issues. He added that it began after she suggested
from pouring into American neighborhoods. The DHS says 2 of the apprehended suspects are under investigation for human smuggling and money laundering, and 1 is under investigation for cocaine trafficking. Also in Texas, the DHS announces that in 6 weeks, ICE arrested 3,593 criminal illegal immigrants in the Houston area, including child pornographers, gang members, and murderers. Texas also has the country's second highest illegal immigrant population and the state with the most ICE arrests. Statistics say that 1 in 4 arrests made by ICE
is coming from abroad, but from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
It's over the drug boats.
The White House condemns the video, denying that President Trump has issued illegal orders.
The sanctity of our military rests on the chain of command. And if that chain of command is broken, it can lead to people getting killed. It can lead to chaos. And that's what these members of Congress who are essentially encouraging.
And calls out what it says is a double standard.
If this were
against an ideology that has destroyed millions and millions of families. Many of them, I serve those families in District Number 27, the heart of the city of Miami, the heart of the Cuban exile community, and now the Venezuelan community, and murdered more than 100 million lives, besides crushing hundreds of thousands of other families and individuals. Unfortunately, socialism and Marxism crushes the human soul.
Salazar also took to X this week ahead of today's vote. The Republican posted in part, quote, "Socialism has never produced freedom or prosperity, only suffering and authoritarian control." The lawmaker added, quote, "With this failed ideology gaining ground in the United States and throughout the hemisphere, I'm proud to lead this resolution and call out its dangers without hesitation." The House approved the resolution by a vote of 285 to 98, with 2 lawmakers voting.
They were using their own money. Meanwhile, David K. Spencer, the Congresswoman's 2021 tax preparer, was also indicted for conspiring to file a false federal tax return. The Congresswoman represents a large portion of western Palm Beach County in the U.S. House of Representatives. She was elected to her 3rd term in Congress in 2024. In response to calls for her to step down, Phyllis McCormick said, "They didn't elect me."
It's my district, and so we'll keep fighting for the people and keep working like we're doing now until they get what they need. So we're here for the people. So the only people who elected me should have make that decision. Thank you so much.
Well, it's time for a recall.
Years in prison. Arlene Richards, NTD News.
California's legislative analyst is predicting a multi-billion-dollar problem for the state's budget, and resolving it may require more than just cutting spending and raising revenue. NTD's David Lamb reports.
California is currently in significant debt and faces an estimated budget deficit of $18 billion.
Good job.
This could set
there,
up a challenge for the state
Gavin
as
Newsom.
Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom enters his last year in office. The state's legislative analyst Gabriel Patek said recently that a substantial portion of every extra dollar California collects goes to constitutionally required expenses.
So that means in order to close a $30 billion deficit, just through additional higher than expected revenue, you'd really need about $60 billion in annual revenue higher than what we forecast.
And $7 billion of next year's expected.
Oh yeah, I just spent all that money on illegal aliens.
Towards schools and community colleges. Other reasons for the deficit, the analyst said, are that there has been no net payroll job growth this year and taxable sales are flat. On the national level, he said tariffs are increasing costs for businesses and people, and borrowing costs remain elevated. Patek previously said in an interview with the Epic Times, Siamak Kurami, host of the California Insider Show, that state governments had various one-time expenditures when they received funding during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Now that we move into this post-pandemic era, some of the maybe less well-advised fiscal decisions that they made are now becoming exposed.
Governor Gavin Newsom is currently in his last term, as governors are given a maximum of 2 terms in California. Newsom's office is
the most decisive issue this committee and this Senate will have to address.
A panel warns the Senate Foreign Relations Committee that a Chinese Communist Party takeover of Taiwan would put our economy into the worst state it's been since the Great Depression.
Obviously, is the economic cost of war itself, which would be 10% of global GDP, a Great Depression, essentially, a second Great Depression. Will we bring back manufacturing? And if we don't stand with Taiwan, I think it'll be very hard to do that.
The CCP is aiming to take over Taiwan in the near future. It's one of its stated goals.
Sure did
and
make
China
some
is having the
mistakes
world's
getting
largest
them
military
involved with
buildup. And it's
business.
also increasingly been conducting military exercises, or what General Admiral Paparo has been saying as rehearsals near Taiwan. Taiwan is also the world's largest semiconductor producer. Now, the CCP has been continually working to infiltrate and subvert world organizations.
Holidays without congressional leadership being set on a specific proposal to address the expiring Affordable Care Act healthcare subsidies. The Trump administration has made it a center focus for the administration for the coming weeks.
Obviously, the president is laser focused on this. It's the main thing I talked with him about. Congress as well is all over this. We have got to find solutions that don't just work at the end of this year, but work for years to come. And I do want to come back to this theme. We have ideas that will also drop the actual cost of care by putting pressure, downward pressure on what we're paying for medications. And that's probably a very good example.
Republican Senator Rick Scott from Florida proposed a bill to make the ACA subsidies a direct payment to consumers for them to choose their health care instead of having the government pay insurance companies directly.
We're not going to repeal Obamacare. We're going to fix Obamacare. I'm not suggesting we change the structure because I think we can drive down the cost by giving people options. We do it in everything. We've done it in everything else, but you do have to protect pre-existing conditions.
A bipartisan group of lawmakers in the House of Representatives have proposed a bill to extend the ACA subsidies for 2 years while also phasing out subsidies to families making more than $200,000 a year.
Looking at all the
Republicans to hang themselves with that. Is that the answer?
That's absolutely a ridiculous assertion. And really, shame on
it's not going to get passed. So what do you do?
Shame on expected pregnancies.
We also do well woman care, well woman exams, STD testing and treatment,
Third
prenatal
term
and postnatal
abortion.
education and classes, wellness care,
This
massage
is-
therapy.
All services are free of charge.
So if a woman walks through our doors and she needs assistance with housing, we're going to be able to find her safe housing. If a woman walks through our doors and she needs help getting her GED, we're going to help her with that. If she needs help finding a job, maybe even working on putting together a resume, all those types of things we can help her with.
Swindell says a large number of women are forced or pressured into an unwanted abortion, which she calls abortion abuse.
So women are being pressured by a boyfriend, a husband, the father of the baby, parents, an employer, someone they trust, usually is what women say, into getting an abortion that they really don't want to have.
Jamie says she was pressured by a partner who told her she couldn't manage a baby. She went to Planned Parenthood. After taking the abortion pill, she knew she'd made a terrible mistake.
I felt this life just escaping me. Like, I felt it so deeply. And I was like, I have to do something about it. Please, anybody in my family, people who love me, God, somebody, like, please get me through this. Please give me another chance to make this right.
Jamie, desperate, called her sister, who told her about Stanton Healthcare, where they do abortion pill reversal.
I filled out some paperwork and they were like, let's go check on that baby. And when I saw his heart still